Good evening, folks. I'd like to welcome everyone to the special City Council meeting Monday, December 11th, 2023. If everyone would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I'd like to make a motion to amend tonight's agenda to include public comments after our executive session.
Second.
Gentlemen, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Okay. With that, I'd like to entertain a motion for entering into executive session.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I'd like to make a motion for council to enter into executive session for legal advice.
I have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Any discussion? Well, we're kind of going to discuss it back there. That's good.
Right.
That's good. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Yeah. Folks, we are going to be in executive session. If you would like to sign up for public comment, please see Casey, if you would please, and sign up for public comment. And we will hear that as soon as we come back. Okay, and with that, folks, we're out of executive session. Casey, let it show. Tom was our first motion, and Councilman Shirley was our second. Okay, so with that, we will begin public comments. So Ray Hale, if you would please, sir.
My name is Ray Hale, 7010 Coventry Court. It's good to see you guys again. And I honestly say that it's good that you guys are meeting in a special session to try and fix whatever needs to be fixed with Marina Drive. I did want to reiterate just two things. One is when I was here on the 20th and we talked about, I think I gave you 6 reasons why you don't want to build a hotel in Marina Drive. One of those, and probably one of the more important, was the safety aspect of, in 2011, we didn't have an elementary school that we now have, and as I mentioned then, there's 8 pedestrian crossings between the elementary school and Marina Drive. People may or may not know that we've had some injuries on two occasions since that discussion on the 20th. Kids that, they don't know any better. They see a car stop, they think they can cross, and then another car unfortunately doesn't stop. So probably just something to think about unless we're going to put stoplights 8 times between Marina Drive and the elementary school. The second thing I want to mention has to do with that statement in Ordinance 585, I think it's called, where you guys all signed off on the statement that Marina Drive is no longer in general use by the public. I don't understand how you can say that if you want to take a boat down to the boat launch. I don't know of another way to get down there. So maybe as time goes on, that can also be explained. And that's it. Thank you.
Anthony Shimkonis.
Hello, this is my first time at one of these meetings here. I'm at 27045 Tidal Way. This is in regards to item 2 and the firearms in the local community about, I guess we're looking at maybe culling the deer. Is that what that's all about? And where is that going to take place? I've read somewhere it might be on the golf course near houses and homes in that area of fire. Also, has anybody addressed other ways of calling the deer population here, as far as PCP or PZP, or any type of chemical castrations, anything like that? Are you going to call just the bucks? Are you going to call the does? Are you going to call them both? There's also, what are you going to do with the carcasses? Is there any plan for that? What else? What type of ammunition is going to be used, if you're going to use that? The range, who's going to get hired to do that? Questions of those sorts is what I'm concerned about, especially having live fire with the population, human population around here, stray bullets or chemicals, lead, whatever, that kind of stuff. And how long is it going to take? How many are you going to call? And also, reintroduction of coyotes into the area to help offset the population, and using a natural way to cull the deer. Because we did have the coyotes were exterminated, and basically would, it's like left hand and right hand, the what's that, risk reward, the balance of nature and stuff. Why didn't we let the coyotes handle this on the in that situation like that, if you understand what I'm saying? So anyway, that's pretty much my concerns about that. And see if there's anything else back here before I give the mic away. That's pretty much it. Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Anthony. Jennifer Thatcher?
Hi, guys. Good to see some of you again. I would like to start off by thanking those of you who took the time to speak with myself and my neighbors and responded kindly and appropriately and with some information that was valuable. I would still like to speak about the concerns and the major discrepancies that we have found as we dug into this ordinance. As had mentioned already, the road was called unused. That information came from the marina owner. There was no independent research done that that road was still being used. That is a major red flag to those of us who do use the road very regularly. Mayor Gray, you stated in the October meeting that there was absolutely nothing in front of the Planning Commission about a hotel, that it was a pie in the sky idea from 2009. Yet in a meeting last Monday, you said that it was you that asked Charlie to have the Planning Commission look at the amount of hotel rooms. We still haven't gotten clarification on that situation and where that miscommunication occurred, but the fact that that line of communication and public comments are completely are opposite of what we have been told since we brought that to your attention. Charlie said that the launch was owned and operated by Denton Marina, yet last Monday he admitted that it is partially owned by the city and partially owned by Duke, that it is leased by Denton. It's a lease that is not public and can be changed at any time. Other concerns include that Denton is known to retaliate against neighbors who bring up any concerns about what goes on at the marina. Several members of this council have personal relationships with Denton and should recuse themselves from any vote related to his property. Many residents have lost faith in some of the council members due to their inconsistencies and lack of transparency. We do not want unbridled development in this location. In addition, the implications of this ordinance are far-reaching, and these are issues that will fall under the new council's plate. Let them make sure that this ordinance is buttoned up before a second reading. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Laurel Bougie?
Hi, everyone. Laurel Bougie, 26007 Morningside Drive. My comments are in relation to item number 2, the land exchange with Denton Marina Group. I have many concerns about the land exchange that the City Council and Denton Marina Group have entered, and I'm very disappointed with the lack of due diligence that was either not communicated to the public or seemingly not done at all. As there are no meeting notes from the Planning Commission regarding this land exchange, I will also assume that the Planning Commission was never engaged. This is very concerning given this current scope of roles and responsibilities of the Planning Commission. As the Planning Commission was not engaged, I'd like to know what process did the council use to ensure due diligence was done to ensure that the council was representing all residents' interests, not just the interest of one individual privately held company. As there is a lack of transparency surrounding the due diligence that was completed prior to the exchange taking place, I would like to provide council the opportunity to respond to the community with answers to the following questions. The premises of the exchange that was completed was because the land was unused by the public. My questions are as follows. How are you defining unused? Were interviews completed with the neighboring residents? Surveys completed for use? In regards to the reference of unused land, was a study done across all of TGK to identify all unused plots? If not, how is this specific plot targeted to enter into an exchange with Denton Marina Group? Was this unused plot of land offered to any other companies? Was there an opportunity to bid? Were any other unused land offers offered up to any other unused plots? Lastly, if there's another company that would like to enter into a land exchange, where should they direct their inquiries? Thank you.
Thank you, Laurel. Casey Borer? I'm going to pass. Okay. All right. And that will conclude our public comments. Okay. That'll bring us to new business, consideration of an ordinance to amend Article, what is that, 11? 6. I don't do Roman numerals. I just don't do Roman numerals. Division 1, Section 34-121, Ordinance 70A, Section 70.14.06 of the city's code as it relates to the discharge of firearms and firearm-like devices, and to allow for exceptions pertaining to the control of wildlife by the city. Folks, as council continues to deliberate on which direction to go with regards to the control of the deer population, culling or darting, there is a need to amend a portion of our city code of ordinances as it relates to the discharging of firearms and firearm-like devices, including but not limited to air-propelled guns in the city limits. Regardless of whether council chooses to move forward with culling the deer, utilizing the darts with Zonistat D, or both, an exemption of either of these needs to be made allowed for in the code. This amendment, if adopted by City Council, will provide that exemption on a case-by-case basis by a majority vote of City Council. This exemption is limited to the management of wildlife itself. Gentlemen, do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, motion to approve the introduction and first reading of an ordinance to amend Article 6, Division 1, Section 34-121, Ordinance 70A, Section 70.14.06 of the city's code as it relates to the discharge of firearms and firearm-like devices, and to allow for exceptions pertaining to the control of wildlife by the city.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
I just say I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Whether we're shooting darts or shooting guns, the city needs to be able to authorize that. So.
Just want to make sure we're having a good discussion in our council meetings. Okay. Well, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. I don't know why it does that. Okay. Another item of new business is an introduction and first reading of an ordinance to amend Ordinance 585, conveyance of a portion of Marina Drive in exchange for property adjacent to TGK Drive, including a sidewalk located therein. Based on input and concerns expressed by some of the public over the past few weeks, city staff, at the direction of council, has renegotiated the terms of the agreement with the owner of TGK Marina. This amendment changes the portion of Marina Drive that would be transferred to the TK Marina, stopping it short of the area above the privately controlled boat launch. The city-owned right-of-way after the final adoption of this amendment would begin at the second entrance, the residential side, to Marina Drive, and continue all the way to and above the boat launch. I would also like to note that the city does not have and never has had control over the boat launch at the marina. The owner of the marina privately controls the launch. So long as the launch is open, it must be available for public use and cannot be limited to the use of any predetermined list or group. The owner of the marina does have the sole ability to close the launch for any duration he may choose, including permanently, without the permission of any agency. It is not a requirement of his marina permit or lease that he keep the launch open. The city has no authority to require the launch to stay open, and the marina owner also has and has always had the ability to charge a reasonable fee for the use of the launch if so desired. City staff has confirmed this with Duke Shoreline Management staff. So in short, the Denton Group can close the launch anytime that they want to. They can leave it open if they so choose to. For years past, that launch has not been a charge to launch a boat at the marina. He can charge whatever he wants to in a reasonable amount.
In short, this gives access to the launch.
This just gives access to the launch. And for those that aren't familiar on how to get down to the launch, if you're going to launch a boat, you go to the second Marina Drive, make a right, come down Marina Drive, and then you pull up and around and back your boat in. If you try to come down the first drive, it is very difficult to put a boat in the water.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got a boat that's bigger than a John boat in the back of your truck. Because I tried to do it with mine, and it was very difficult. I had to back up and go around. So in that, you'd still be able to get to the boat launch by city property.
And just to clarify, the launch is private property. It has never been owned by the city. And if the Denton Group wanted to close the launch, they could have done it yesterday, they could have done it 2 weeks ago, they could have done it 2 years ago, they could have done it 5 years ago. Nothing has changed with this ordinance.
Do we have any further discussion, gentlemen?
I just want to say, the Denton Group has taken a lot of bad publicity from citizens, and I understand personal business with the slips. That's up to the Denton Group and them, but as far as the launch goes, he's been a good city partner. 37 years he's owned that ramp, and he's never charged once, and he puts thousands of dollars.
He's paid to maintain it, yeah.
To maintain that ramp out of his pocket is a free utility for anybody, not just citizens TK, but anybody who wants to launch a boat there. So for that, I want to thank Leroy personally for doing that. I haven't lived here that long. I've never put a boat in there. I never will because I'm not buying a boat. But I do appreciate the fact that he's kept that open and kept it free. That's it.
Thank you, sir. And with that, gentlemen, all in favor?
We didn't motion
You
yet.
had the motion. We got two motions.
Mr. Mayor and members of the council, I'd like to make a motion to approve the introduction and first reading of an ordinance to amend Ordinance 585, conveyance of a portion of Marina Drive in exchange for property adjacent to TK Drive, including a sidewalk located thereon.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Tom's the second.
How can you guys sit there and lie about this? Charlie, how can you say that?
Ma'am, this is not open for discussion. I'm gonna ask you to sit down. We don't want to take you out. We're not lying to you about him. Ma'am, this is not a discussion for the gallery. No, it's not. Ma'am, I've asked you. Ma'am, I don't want to have you removed, but we're going to continue this meeting with or without you. If you want to be quiet, you can continue the meeting.
Sit there like good old boys at the Denton Marina, shooting their publicity here.
This is not open for discussion, folks. It's not the way this council works. It's not the way a council meeting works, period.
That's correct. You don't.
You don't know the truth, because the truth, we just told you the truth. If you would do your research, no, you haven't.
Don't participate.
I'm not participating in this conversation with you guys. This is not an open discussion meeting. If somebody does not get these two ladies out of here so we can get the rest of this meeting going, thank you, please. Thank you. You can have it whatever you want to, sweetheart. You can have it whatever you want to. You what? I've asked for you to please get a
Yeah, that's
chargeable.
chargeable. Sure is harassment. That is totally. We all know
Okay.
women. We all know that.
Okay.
There's no reason to make that something that's not. I think any reasonable person knows your heart, what you're saying. And we know the research that's been
Sorry, I'm
done
just a good
to
old
get-
Southern boy.
To get us to this point
My
to make
bad
a decision.
for being that way. Okay. And with that, I will cover council comments.
I'll be quick and easy as usual. Thanks, police, fire staff, everything you guys do. It's really appreciated. Again, congrats again to the two that are incoming next month. Best of luck to you guys, and that's all I have. Thanks.
Oh, wow. I'm going to thank our first responders like I always do, and I am going to welcome Carmen and Brian to an adventure unlike any other, and look forward to seeing you guys up here in January, and see you guys next Monday.
Councilman Shirley.
Yes, sir. If I may, I want to be careful how I address this, but Mr. Anthony, because of the comments and questions that you have, I'd like to maybe address a couple of the things that you asked about with relation to the deer. So somebody stop me or correct me if I'm wrong here. A tremendous amount of research and energy is going into this discussion over the last 2 years plus. This council has labored over what to do, what not to do, what paths to take, what's reasonable, what's appropriate for our community. I can assure you that I've probably logged about 100 hours on this subject personally. And this council and city staff has logged thousands of hours on this subject combined. This is not a decision that we take lightly or that we want to make haphazardly. If it was, I'm a hunter. I would have said, let's shoot the deer 2 years ago. I wanted to be reasonable about it. I wanted to make a decision that was inclusive of all the folks in the community, to hear what they had to say, to look at alternatives, to talk to experts, folks that do this for a living and have done it for a living for 20 and 30 years. I wanted to make sure that I didn't steer the conversation in a direction that wasn't consistent with where this council wanted to go or where our city staff wanted to go. We have not made a final decision on anything yet, although we have talked to some folks that have given us some input on how to cull the herd and how to control the population with birth control. We're still laboring the decision on those two best options at this point, and we'll be making a final decision in the very near future. As far as the type of ammunition, if anybody's going to shoot any deer, it's going to be done by somebody that's an expert that knows how to do it, that knows where to do it, knows where not to do it. There's going to be significant safety measures put in place so that you and your loved ones are going to be safe during any process like that. In addition to that, if we're going to dart the deer, we want to make sure that the same thing happens. People aren't going to get in the way of that. People aren't going to interfere with it. We've got a deer problem, and we've got to address it. I hope you'll understand that when we make those decisions are the best ones that we can possibly make with all of the information that we've researched over the last few years.
I'm just concerned on this. I know it has to be done, it's just how you do it and where you do it.
It sure as heck won't be near your house. That's for darn sure. Yep. And that's a very reasonable question. There's a lot of information on previous council meetings and special meetings that we've had with DNR officials on what sex of the deer needs to be culled, what sex doesn't need to be culled. That information is available to you. I'd be glad to talk to you afterwards if you want. Probably taken more time than I needed to, but I wanted to address your concerns. Yes, sir. That's all I got.
Thank you, Councilman Shirley. Dr. Mayor Pro Tem Heisler, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To address Ray's, couple of Ray's questions, points. For those that are not aware, last Monday, Planning Commission met and voted to review the hotel as an authorized use within the Marina District. So they are undergoing that now. They will have a public hearing, make a recommendation before it comes to us. So please, when that is announced, come to the public hearing, let them know your concerns about the hotel. If that's whatever you're pro or against the hotel, please come and speak on that behalf. Also, we wanted to clarify, there's been a lot of questions about the Marina Overlay District. I'll be honest, a year ago, I didn't know we had a Marina Overlay District. It was passed in 2011, and I never heard of it. Now I know more about it than I'll ever want to know. So an overlay district, the base zoning still applies. So just like your house is zoned R8, R10, R12, whatever the case may be, or if it's zoned commercial, B1, B2, the base zoning is what applies. And if you look at the Marina Overlay District, everything is residential with the exception of the old City Hall. And the actual marina at the bottom. They're zoned B1. Any other property within the Marina Overlay District is zoned residential. If somebody wanted to put a commercial building outside of the little City Hall property, they would need to come to Planning Commission, go to a public hearing, have a Planning Commission recommendation done, and then it would come to City Council to change the zoning. The Marina Overlay District is a secondary requirement on top of the base zoning. So just because the Marina Overlay District says an authorized use is a restaurant, a hotel, a barber shop, that's secondary. First applies as the base zoning. That comes in first, then the overlay. So I wanted to make sure everyone's aware of that. Just because there's that overlay district doesn't mean everything that's listed in there is a special authorized use, doesn't mean it's approved. It still has to comply with the base zoning, and that was a request we got, and we got presented that today, that information, so I want to get that out to you. That's all I have. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, got a little heated tonight. It's obviously a touchy topic. But thank you for being here, and Mr. Mayor, that's all I have.
Thank you, Dr. Mayor Pro Tem Heisler. Well, in that, I'm going to cheer everybody up because that's my job. Christmas, the tree lighting was absolutely fantastic. I appreciate everyone that was there. And folks, if you weren't there this year, make sure you attend next year. It was absolutely fantastic. Our kids and TK Choir put a tremendous show on for us. I'd like to have a special thank you to Cynthia Stragle and to Caroline Hasties. She did a fantastic job. As always, PD and our fire department, you do an outstanding job day in and day out. Thank you very much for your service. And for our city staff that worked tirelessly to get the Christmas tree up and beautify TK every day, day in and day out. Thank you for your service as well. I also like to thank you folks for coming out to your council meeting this evening. We are listening to you. Believe it or not, we do listen to you. And we try to respect your wishes and do all we can to make the city as good as we can. In that, I hope everyone has a happy holiday. I like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas because that is my belief. But if you are, if you believe in Hanukkah, Happy Hanukkah, if Kwanzaa, Happy Kwanzaa, Diwali, Happy Diwali. And if I missed anything else, did I miss one? No? Let's cover it with Happy Holidays, folks. I hope everyone's safe and healthy through the rest. Huh?
Festivus.
Festivus.
Right.
Or the rest of us. Okay. That's a good one. Festivus for the rest of us. But in that, I would like to attain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn,
Second.
Mr.
I have a
Mayor.
motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.